My man.
I like real last second. I had to just pick a story on the. I let the Google Docs algorithm find one for
Yes.
me on on the last story.
All right, so
Because I
now
was like, maybe he'll update that one because I really hadn't seen too much on that yet.
uh
And then and then you hadn't. I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna roll the dice on this. And then I checked it out, and I'm like, okay, this is a decent article.
and now here's the story from MSNBC.
No,
Fox
it's Push Square.
Fox Money.
Oh God, no, not Fox Money.
The Financial Times.
Cryptocurrency just crashed. Let's go.
Time Splitters, cryptocurrency.
There we go.
I gotta wash my
That somehow ties in together.
I gotta wash my hands. They're still dirty from the batting cage. Hold on.
Dirty hands.
Dirty hands.
These damn hands.
Yes. Fuck.
Is that Mass Effect?
Yeah, it's number 2. Oh God, I'm about to die. Critical mission failure. I guess so. What's the point of picking people, man? They're all on this fucking ship with me. Doesn't matter. Nobody leaves the ship.
Yeah, my hands were dirty. All right, hold on. I gotta get graphic for a minute. So I was outside, right, at the cage. A mosquito bit me. It literally looks like a third nipple.
Jeez.
Cesar, check it out.
It does.
Cesar.
All right, good job, Mark Wahlberg. I'm proud of you.
Oh, it's my third nipple. Was that us going live notification? Yes.
As you were showing your nipples?
Yep. Cesar says clothing is required.
Yep. You have to redo the show again.
I violated our only rule.
It's the one
that might get us demonetized or canceled on Twitch or something.
Whatever. As long as we get recognized.
We'll just say it's body paint. Yeah, again, remember, if we get banned, it just goes on the wall. All right, we got one with us.
Yes, we do.
Cesar, did you play up your Twitch stream?
Yeah, I'm looking at somebody playing Final Fantasy 14 right now. The true stream.
But not us.
No, we're not important.
There's only one person that thinks this. There's only one person that thinks we are important. Let me rephrase that.
Not watching at all whatsoever.
Duty.
Hidden.
How does that algorithm still tell us? I don't get it. Does it even fucking matter anymore? Cesar, have you tried streaming again?
I got to mess with OBS again because for whatever reason it dropped something. And then I was like, try to do it last Saturday, and I was like, I don't have time for this right now. And then I never got back to it.
Yeah, that's the bad.
I'm working on it. It's OBS key. I mean, OBS was working, and then just fucking shit the bed on me.
Yeah, I know how it goes. I got this one set up for us for this live show, and that's like our... I don't want to do anything to fuck it up.
Well, see, what was crazy is I had it saved, and for whatever reason, I don't know what has changed since then.
From when you did that Halo stream?
Yeah.
Because you were fine. The Halo volume was off, right? Or did you get that straightened out?
I got that straightened out, but now, like, it won't show... I don't know, man. I gotta fuck with it. I'm gonna have to take, like, some time and, like, literally mess with it.
Right. Like a legit investment. Alright, let me pull up these stories. We'll be ready to roll.
Alright. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Amateur.
Do what?
I said amateur.
Yeah.
I've already had mine pulled up.
I'm not even thinking about the story right now, so you guys are ahead of me.
What Wii game you got sitting over there, Cesar?
Sakura Wars.
Like, all I can see is that it is a Wii game.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah. Lewy.
The little Wii.
Lewy.
Yep.
Sakuga.
Checks out.
The only thing that matters to me. Oh, I can't save. We're just gonna have to chance it.
It won't let you save in the vehicle?
No, absolutely not. I'm only like halfway through that thing, so I'm not nice.
Oh. It was letting me in the Mako.
Yeah. It's not how it works in the Mass Effect of the doses.
Dose.
Mako
Dose.
says false, so fuck the Mako.
You can save anywhere if you buy that Mass Effect amiibo.
That's travel.
That's great. That's great. But it has a cooldown timer.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good shit. Oh, man. We'll get to that at the end. At the end of the show.
Yeah, because I picked that up, and then this sucker came out too. I'm going all in on my Sakura Wars.
Sakura Wars.
Yeah.
They're fighting over the Sakuras.
Sure. That's actually a sequel to the game, so.
Oh, dude, I freaked out the other day because Amazon suggested a Blu-ray to me of the Big O. Do either of you have any knowledge? Oh my god. I just remember that anime fondly from Toonami. It only had like 2 seasons. It's like the Big O, it's basically like if instead of becoming Batman, Bruce
one, right?
Oh, it's that one, yeah. It's if instead of Bruce Wayne became Batman, he just decided that he was gonna still fight like crime and whatever, but with a giant robot. And
I heard about this on another podcast.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's the same animation studio that did Cowboy Bebop. Not the same director, but same studio.
Yeah, it's so fucking. It was really, really good. At least if I remember it, how I did as a child, it was really fucking good.
In your mind's eye.
Essentially, what happened was the first season bombed in Japan.
Yeah.
It did so well over here that Cartoon Network funded the second season. So that's why that's why we got a second season altogether. So
yeah.
That'd be a good reason to pick it up, right?
Yeah, it's like $44 or $45, I think, on Amazon. So I saved it, and I was like, maybe not right this second, but I do want it.
I might do you one better. I think Sentai Filmworks is the studio that
yes,
licenses it now.
It is.
They usually buy their stuff when it's on sale. They're having their anime sale. Anime, get it?
Anime.
Like on their website?
Yeah, I usually buy a lot from them when they have it on. Right now it's on sale for $27.99.
There you go, Brant. Get in.
Oh, you beautiful son of a bitch.
Get in, Brant.
So it's on back order, but you can still order it.
Okay.
I just watched you Big O right here on camera.
But yeah, if you go on their website, they usually have like I'd usually go on there and buy a bunch of their Blu-rays because I'll go down the list and like less than $10 and I just pick up a bunch of stuff.
SentaiFilmworks.com.
Yeah. That's how I got my Heaven's Memo pad, because I bought that for $12.99, and now that set used goes for about $800 on eBay because they don't have the license anymore. So.
Jesus.
Yeah, anime's expensive when they lose the license, man, and they get a hard copy. Oof. That's why I make sure to buy my hard copies of stuff that I like. So.
Whew. Steep. Damn, make a backup of that and sell that bitch. Wait for the next format. All right, you guys ready? Ready to rock and roll?
Yep.
I think games played will be pretty light for me. I'll have stuff to bounce off with Cesar for the Mass Effects.
Fuck the Mako.
Fuck that Mako.
There's a part in the second one where you have to pay respects. I kept walking. I was like,
Did they retcon it to Mako?
Well, I mean, you know what happens in the second one. It's not a lie that they demolished like everything to kind of like rebuild the game since they changed the game style. So, and Mako was a casualty, and I celebrated its death.
You were okay with it going away forever?
Yep. Fuck the bastard version of the Warhog. Same controls and everything.
No,
so.
It is not the same controls. That's why I'm struggling with it. It is not the same.
Yeah, I thought the Warhog was up to go, right? It wasn't. Was it always on triggers to drive?
Well, the Mako has that like 360 bullshit. We should be talking about this in the podcast.
Yeah, just keep going to start. We'll get to it there. No, just go ahead and start. We'll get there.
Nope.
I'll remember.
Nope.
I'll bring the Mako. I hate the Mako enough that I will bring it back up again.
So the Mako has the 360 thing where you can go forwards or backwards, and you're like going the right way. The Warthog is more of a specific like street forward thing. Because I tried to drive it like the Warthog, and it does not control the same way. Like the right stick didn't do anything.
It pisses me off as much as it pisses me off driving the Warthog. That's me. Warthog equals Mako to me. Second, you're absolutely correct because there's many times where I've gone on a tangent and I'm like, okay, follow the story, and I get back out and get back in my Mako. I'm like, gonna continue with the story, and then I went back the way I came because I had no fucking idea the direction I was going. So I had to go back in there and then turn right around and go back the other way to continue the story. So,
all right,
fuck the Mako.
Yeah, I'm with you. That part, and I'm just in the beginning though, still I guess, because I just got it in like 2 missions before where I'm at, but I don't like it.
No, yeah. Don't worry, man. You're not the only one. I hate that thing. I hate it so much with a passion. What I do is I typically throw on Spotify, and then when I'm in the Mako, that way I can listen to something I like as I drive the Mako that I hate. So
Counterbalance.
Yeah, it's all perfectly balanced. Man.
Yin and yang.
Yeah.
Oh, all access Xbox is available, Brant, if you want to jump.
Really?
It's at Walmart, the all access plan. Which I probably could have gotten away with, but whatever.
Next time, Gadget.
Mm-hmm. I think friend of the show Dale's not too far from doing the same. Y'all ready to rock? Rock. Well, we're already recording, so.
Oh.
Yup.
Do that.
Oh.
No links, Cesar. Don't send me any links mid-show. I'm not clicking on them.
I didn't send you any links. I haven't.
Does this last through the whole month of May, Cesar?
I can never find any when their sales are over. So. I mean, you literally have 13 days. So.
Yeah.
Brent, I just got $50 in cash. Would you like an advance for anime?
Well, I also found like the whole series of Elfen Lied on here too, and I've only got that in a lower quality digital questionable acquirement format.
Yes, the best.
So, Brent, I'm gonna let you know. When I think I hit up Sentai, I bought that. I bought Elfen Lied, and then No Game No Life. I bought the complete collection. I think they had it on sale for like $25. It included the series and the movie.
Oh, is that on? Son of a bitch!
It's on there. It's on there for $25 right now.
All right, now Brent needs the $50 and another advance. Put it on his tab.
Season 1 and movie complete.
Yep. I'm trying to get them to make a second season, so I was like, I'm just gonna buy whatever is available. That way they'll be like, oh, they want a second season.
Oh well, that's a steelbook.
No, there's a regular one for $24.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for because that came up and it was like $99. I'm like, ooh, that's not right.
Yeah, they dig those steelbooks out of the Mount Everest or something like that. They're always like $100. I don't get it.
I've never understood the steelbook craze. It's like an additional thing. It's never the thing for me.
It's cool. But
if it's free, yes. If it comes free with said game, I'm okay with it. I'm not going out my way to buy a steelbook. 9 times out of 10, it's going to come in dinged from shipping.
Yep. Or if I find Best Buy has been pushing them with a bunch of their pre-orders, like I'll just get it when it's like $5 or $6.
I bought the Doom and I bought whatever the other thing they had on there too. Oh yeah, the Yakuza one. I was like, yeah, $4.99.
I got Shenmue and I picked up another one at that time. And I'll get Mass Effect when it goes cheap.
I got like 8 fucking copies of Shenmue 3, so.
Yep.
It's my new thing where every time I was like, oh, Shenmue 3. Oh,
it's
Shenmue
your new
3.
Metal Gear Solid.
It's my new Shenmue for Dreamcast. I got like 8 copies of that too. Oh, Shenmue. I'll never see this again.
It's gotten expensive. It was one of the cheaper ones. It was expensive, and then it was super cheap, and then it seems like it's gotten high again, so. I don't know. All retro games are expensive right now.
Well, everybody's at home, man. They're playing games. I'm waiting for when everybody's out on the road again. They're like, I don't need this crap, and it's gonna be a mass exodus on eBay.
Could be.
So this one that you said is 24. It just says complete collection.
Yeah, it says no game, no life complete. Richard, I'm gonna throw this in the chat. Just stay out of the chat.
Yeah,
I'm not clicking it.
I want to see if this is the same one.
There you go.
Because it says
throw it in the chat.
It says 24, but yeah, this is.
Maybe it's just a series. Never mind.
I was about to say, I'm looking. It looks like it might just be the series.
You're right. Yeah, I think the one you're talking about, the Steelbook, has the movie included.
The Steelbook has the movie.
But I think it's separately. The movie is like, the series is 24. I think the movie is. This is the time to buy, man. When they have these bloody sales, and you don't have to buy just a second. They always have these sales. The movie's $10.99, so.
Oh, that's not bad.
But the Steelbook's on sale for $41.99, but still cheaper to buy everything separately. You save $5, so. Yeah, don't let us hold you up, Richard. You can hit record anytime. This is always premium stuff.
We are 5 minutes into recording. I'll have to cut this out.
Excellent. You should just keep it on here. I'll buy this No Game No Life Zero poster.
I always cut out up until I lead in, and then I put it at the end, like I did last week.
Well done.
As we rambled about something.
I'm trying to get a Brent on my level. Funimation's having a crazy sale on anime. Also, I went through and bought a whole bunch for like $5 on Blu-ray. So.
Oh no! Don't tell me that.
Hey, it's always good to look. You don't have to buy. Just look and see if there's something you like. So.
Yeah.
Brant just put 10 gaming-related T-shirts on eBay to fund his anime expenditures.
Yeah, these are the times to buy when they have them on sale. Crazy sales.
Actually, I spent the past 2 minutes trying to come up with a witty June anime type thing for June or July, and I'm swinging and missing over here.
Okay, I'll stop, and me and Cesar can. Well, I mean, he's already told me go to Funimation. Go, so yeah, I'll look at them later.
Yeah, it's there. It'll be there. They're not going anywhere.
Animatum sale?
No.
It doesn't fit.
You were better off saying Juniper and just tying it to Witcher 3.
Juniper. Or all your anime is good at your June-S or something like that. I gotta tie the Persona 4 June-S thing in there.
I got a copy of Most Wanted or Hot Pursuit. I will break that in half on stream if you don't stop. So.
Oh, which one? What version?
All of them. Sure, let's go.
It depends. It depends on what version it is.
No, all of them.
PSP.
Every version, every generation, every version of it, I'm gonna break.
Of Most Wanted. Most Wanted 2005, Most Wanted 2012.
And then I will proceed to go on Amazon and purchase another copy of Bubsy. And then just live stream.
Bubsy 3D.
Please, God, no.
Bubsy, and then I'm going to go reload my limited run page and then buy all the Double Dragons that are coming on Switch.
Oh, I was about to say. I saw that come across. I was like, oh, Cesar, I know he's buying those.
Day 28 Double Dragon Day.
What is it? Double Dragon 4 and Neon, was it? Yeah.
How is it Double Dragon Day?
I don't know, but it's there.
And the soundtrack. And
nobody asked for this.
I don't know. People were in the chat asking for it.
Did you fucking buy? Did you buy?
It's not available yet.
Yeah.
Oh, he'll be in there.
Oh, he will. I know he's gonna buy that shit.
I love me some Double Dragon.
All right, let's get in there. It's 8 minutes in. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 159 of the NOFODcast. We are No Outside Food or Drink, the Southeast premier one and only video game and I guess become anime, and for the next few months, playoff basketball podcast.
Yes, playoff basketball.
Playoff basketball. Cesar, I know you see me repping, so
yes.
I'm right there with it. This week, we've got your details on the E3 2021 online portal and app. Xbox is testing new chat options. What could that be? What Rockstar game do you guys think is coming to PS5 and Xbox Series systems?
Give you 5 guesses.
And you can only go back to PlayStation 3 as far as your guesses. DualSense controllers get 2 new colors. Surprised we haven't talked about this. Nintendo Online add more games to its catalog. Does it? Late May Game Pass games. Zelda Amiibo gates important feature. And Time Splitters is officially coming back. I'm Richard Bergman, joined tonight by Millennial Brant McKee.
Millennial.
And geriatric millennial Cesar Concepcion II.
Hello.
Oh, did you guys see these new titles? Brant, I'm guessing you didn't see it.
No.
Oh, so they've classified geriatric millennials as 1980 to 1985.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know what the fuck that means.
You bridge the gap. So you are a millennial. So some millennials have, like, they have more of the digital side of the internet age, and the geriatric millennials, as they're called, they remember a pure analog existence, unlike the traditional millennials. And then you have, I can't remember the name.
I remember analog.
Huh?
I remember analog. I remember no internet. I remember a little bit of computer with, black screen and green lettering, and then
it's still vague because it said 80 to 85, and I'm late 86, and I consider myself one of these geriatric millennials too. So
I'm just a fucking 56K modem. Is that all it is? I'm just converting analog to digital.
You're before that. You're before that.
Yeah. I'm before that. I'm using one of those rotary phones with the numbers. Rotary. Yeah.
I like rotary. I like rotary beads.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's go.
Rotary phones and rotary beads.
I remember a day when I played Silent Hill 1 on a CD-ROM. Is that what we're doing? Am I doing it right?
Yeah. I was thinking the other day about, you pop the disc in and it downloads all the data, and it's not like, we think about preservation and saving our consoles, but it's not like sitting there streaming the data off the disc, like playing Crash Bandicoot or Silent Hill or something like that,
Yeah.
It's slowly destroying your laser as it reads every day.
Yeah. And them things lasted forever, to be honest. They were built like, that first PlayStation, remember, it had like the plastic CD laser slider. Who thought that was a good idea?
Cost.
That too.
But that's all it is until you realize it broke, and then you're like, oh, we can't sell this.
Yeah. Wouldn't it get hot and the plastic would warp, and then that would keep it from doing it? Now, why would they have to flip the PlayStation upside down? Because I never had one that had to do that. Do you remember what caused that? Something to do with that assembly too, probably?
Some kind of heat buildup or something like that. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, something caused it. And what made it flipping it over? I wonder what made it run properly that way.
Something with the venting on the bottom, how it dissipate the air and all that shit. So, or stuff. Excuse me.
I didn't research this. We just this is off the cuff as it usually is.
I
saw Brent's cup. I said off the cup. This is off the cup.
Off the cup. Straight from it.
Oh shit. All right, y'all ready to jump into news?
Let's do it.
Details on E3 2021. We already knew it was not going to be a big physical presence. And this comes from Gamatsu and Sal Romano. There's a baseball Sal Romano player. I just saw him the other day. There was on a transaction wire, and I saw Sal Romano. I was like, hey, he's going back to AAA. He's not in the bigs anymore.
There we go.
So minor league baseball player Sal Romano reports the ESA have announced the first details on E3 2021 online portal and app. The portal and app will act as a hub for the show, featuring virtual booths, hosted events, video conferencing, profiles and avatars, forums, and more avatars. Media access will open on June 7th, followed by public access on June 12th. Registration is free and begins later in May. The public version, because this is the important part of the online portal, will include exhibitor booths featuring special events, video on-demand content, and articles. Exhibitor booths will act as hubs within the portal for key announcements and game information tied to each exhibitor. What the fuck is that? It's like a Citrix storefront. Lounges, online gathering spots for all E3 attendees. Do not sit on my couch. Forums, special boards for focused online discussion and sharing among attendees, because
I can't see that going bad.
Because Reset Era and Twitter aren't already those. That's also the couch. That's the lounge. Leaderboards, gamified show elements that could be collected and displayed, encouraging fans to interact in as many ways as possible. What was what's the term they always use? It's not engagement. It's shit. I can't think of it now. Crap.
Sir,
do what?
Before we go any further, I encourage you to read the first comment. That's what made me laugh.
I will get to that after this. Profile creation. All attendees can create their own unique profiles within the portal and app, which can be customized. The first comment says, and I quote, "Can't wait to be disappointed for another year." That comes from Limbless 7 days ago. Thank you, Limbless. Someone actually 3 comments down from that says, "Heck yeah, I'll give my data to the ESA. What could possibly go wrong?" Nah, they are actually reading between the lines. That is a good point that they're making there. What is that? It's not engagements. What is that? It's like when they do so if you had, we used to have the not Rockstar, not Monster. We have the Red Bull people. They would come out for like game launches. I think they were there for the 360 launch for us. But there's a term for those, and it's escaping me. Some retail media bullshit. I get why they're doing this. Is anybody excited by this? Are we gonna get our news from the usual places and not go through all this hoopla?
Yeah, I'll probably just watch a typical stream or something, or.
Do you think they're going to force us to go through this, or do you think they're going to be on YouTube and Twitch and all the usual places?
They'll be everywhere else. I would think they'd have to be. Unless they offer some really exclusive looks, or, unless that like virtual booth thing is actually really groundbreaking and you can actually visit these different booths and there's something interactive to do and it's worth it. I can't see myself downloading the app, it's an interesting concept, but I don't know if I'll go through all that. I think I just want to watch it.
Do you think a publisher, because like my most anticipated title going in probably through the rest of the year is going to be Halo Infinite. Do you think a Microsoft or 343 is going to lock an exclusive look at Halo Infinite, or maybe a demo, something like that, behind this ESA app or inside that virtual booth or anything? Do you think anybody goes to the extent of gating content that way outside of how people are used to doing it? Do they have to justify the fee? Because you have to pay a fee to the ESA to exhibit at E3, right? And it's usually for floor space. It's usually for these big booths and lights and security and everything else that you have to pay for at these locations, and they're not doing that anymore. So where do they make that up from people paying their dues and fees and all that, Where do you think that comes from, and do you think a publisher locks something like that behind it?
Don't know, man. Maybe you should make a game and then try to get on E3 and you tell us.
We have 2 weeks? It's not hard. Game making's not hard.
Have you seen the Bible games on PS4? Those are literally sick people running and playing football, and they sell them for $1.
Okay, can we do that?
I don't think I've seen those.
They're $1 and they're pretty funny, man.
You bought one?
I have not. I've watched the video, but I have not ventured yet to purchase, even though most people have been buying them for easy platinums. I'm like, this is weird.
It's a Bible football game? Can you please elaborate on this?
It is a black background with a white stick figure as he runs across a 2D playing field, and he hurdles over people like Bo Jackson as they try to tackle him with a said football in stick person form.
Well, Bo Jackson was biblical, so that's fair, I guess. Is it like New Testament versus Old Testament teams? Like you have different players on?
It is all Testament teams.
All Testaments.
Yeah.
Total Testament. Total Testament. Total Testament football.
Yep. TTF.
TTF 2021.
Oh, Lord.
I'm not playing that. I'm not playing that. It's only a roster update from last year. What did they add?
I hope it's roster updates.
They added the prayer stick instead of the truck stick.
Nope, we're not going there. I'm not going to blasphemy. borderline almost named somebody biblical, and I'm like, nope, stop myself.
Go ahead.
Nope, absolutely not. Nope, I'm not burning
Abraham and your sacrifice stick.
Nope. Absolutely.
Father Abraham.
Total Testament football. All right, E3. The media part is June 7th, it said, and public access is June 12th. But
like a PBS public access?
Yes, it's gonna be on that.
It's gonna be on Channel 8. Will they go on there and ask me for donations to fund further E3?
There's gonna be a telethon for E3 for next year. We can't put it on without you.
Or they sucker you at the end. We're like, hey, here's some Motown stuff, and they're all singing live. I'm like, hey, I can get behind this. That's how they sucker you in. That's how they sucker me in every time. I mean, they're not sucking me in, it's a good cause, but that's how I usually end up staying on the channel.
Right, but you'll get a Motown CD. You just paid for a year of E3.
Motown Live. Every time they were on PBS, Motown.
That was good. Those were always bang up compilations too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no sleepers on that CD at all.
So many hits, man.
All right, so we'll find out what this is like coming up. We've also got, it's not in the news, but Jeff Keighley kind of outlined his Keighley Fest.
Yeah.
And we got the
Keighley's is coming up right before the E3 event. And so literally it's going to be 4 or 5 days packed with a lot of information, I'm sure.
So correct me if I'm wrong. Last year obviously was a digital E3. Didn't Keighley pick up most of that production and announcements and everything?
I believe so.
Did E3 go on last year? I thought they canceled it.
No, there were still like announcements here, and it wasn't the hoopla that it was.
Yeah, I don't think it. Yeah, it wasn't.
I think it was like through IGN or something like that. It was like the Summer Games or something like that.
It wasn't an official E3.
And that was a Keighley sponsored thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think they ended up canceling E3. Because remember, they were like, we're going to go live. And everybody's like, yeah, we're not going.
I'm interested to see what Keighley's thing is this week before, and then what there's going to be left afterwards. Is it just going to be this engagement thing? Maybe we're reading too much into it, and they're outlining that. Like, hey, all the big announcements and all that are going to be the week before during the Summerfest, and then the week after is going to be this vendor thing and demos and a couple announcements sprinkled in there.
Well, that's the thing with the Keighley's too, is like there was a lot of big names. Mm-hmm. I think I saw EA, 2K, even Microsoft and Sony are going to be. I don't think the only people that really was absent from the list was Nintendo.
Right.
But I guess they could even drop a trailer or something for that or something.
Sorry.
What's going to be their big game?
Beastie Boys.
Music podcast.
Yes.
What's going to be their? What's Nintendo's big thing? Yeah.
I mean, there's rumblings about a new Donkey Kong game, but there's also something.
The 3D one.
The 2D
the 2D. There's also it was 2D or 2.5. There also is kind of rumors about a 2D Metroid kind of floating around for Switch. So
Metroid Dread.
I think that this year is 30th anniversary of Metroid, as well as Zelda.
Is it 30 or 35? It's 30. Yes, 35 for Metroid and Zelda.
35 for Metroid and Zelda. Sorry, excuse me.
Because I'm 35. It tracks. Yeah. It's going to track for the rest of my life.
We're already celebrating Zelda with our 35th anniversary amiibo. So.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was 25 since it's $25.
They should have upped the price of $10. Somebody sent them a memo. Like, hey,
numbers are confusing. No, but I feel like they have to show something to honor both of those titles.
Which means they won't.
There's
Metroid, really? Yeah. Honor Metroid? Come on, it's like them honoring Earthbound.
And that freaking translated Earthbound Zero is trapped on Wii U Virtual Console.
But there's still like controversy as to whether we'll even see Breath of the Wild 2 this year. There's people thinking it could be pushed back, and I highly doubt that we see Metroid Prime 4, considering that
they just rebooted it like a year or two ago.
It was it early last year? Or it might have been late at 2019 where they just kind of had to go back through and redo. So,
and then even outside of that normal cycle, you have pandemic development cycles, so that's even more of an extension.
let's be honest. I mean, if they are coming out with that new hardware, those games are coming out with new hardware. So
yeah,
those would be the ones to showcase it.
We'll get more ports and AAA from last generation than generation before type ports. One of them just showed up. What was that? Ni no Kuni Dos.
Yeah, the Kingdom, whatever it's
Prince's
called.
Story or something. Tiny Prince Kingdom.
Sure, Tiny Prince. Let's go with that.
Tiny Rolling Prince.
Micro Machines.
Tiny artist formerly known as Prince.
That's your E3 update for the week. I'm sure we'll be talking about that shit for a while.
Hopefully there's stuff to talk about. So
yeah. This comes from The Verge. Xbox is testing accessible chat options like transcription and speech synthesis. It's available to insiders now. Microsoft has announced new text-to-speech and speech-to-text features for Xbox Party Chat, which aim to help make communication on the platform more accessible. The features are currently being tested through the Xbox Insider program. This is awesome. You just go, if you're an Xbox Insider, you just go to Settings, Ease of Access, Game and Chat Transcription, or by going to Options, Ease of Access Settings while in a chat. And The Verge puts a screenshot up there on Minecraft where it's got the chat broken down in a readable format. So that is awesome. They've done a great job of pushing that stuff forward. Wasn't there I don't see it in our news, wasn't there a big Sony thing where they announced an accessibility thing too?
It was Ratchet and Clank.
Ratchet and Clank is going to have what? I think it's
thing.
important to focus on this accessibility stuff.
You're going to have to pull up a list because it was a deep list.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's not a small thing. It was a whole honking list of stuff they added.
Is it almost like Last of Us 2 last year where they had all sorts of options for people?
It was I think it was similar to like Control, where if they even made it easier to play the game that way, you're not hunkered down with difficulty. Like it breaks it down where you actually clean. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I was looking at the said article. I just don't do news anymore because I'm a bastard. So I could at least popped it in there. I apologize.
I do the news, but I saw something about Ratchet. Yeah,
I caught it.
I saw something about Ratchet and Clank, more about the tool, and I was like, you guys already have my money. I'm buying this. And then it was later that I heard, I'm like, oh, they added it. So I just forgot to put it in.
From IGN, basically, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, accessibility features, gameplay difficulty. They got Rookie Recruit, perfect for beginners, Rebel Agent, balanced choice for more experienced players, Resistance Leader for those who seek a greater challenge, Renegade Legend for those who wish to battle the most brutal foes. You can disable all tutorials. Combat toggles and assists, fire mode. You can do default weapons fire depending on weapon type. Hold weapons fire repeatedly on button hold. Slow firing, low ammo weapons such as grenades will remain single fire.
Awesome.
Toggle weapons fire repeatedly when toggled on. Will continue firing until toggled off. Slow firing, low ammo such as grenades will remain single fire. You got aim mode. Sets the aim action as either toggled on or off in the button hold. Aim assist you can do as a default. You can do it as strong. You can do auto aim. You can do lock on. You can do melee mode. You can do weapon wheel mode. It says weapon wheel action as either toggled on or off or a button hold. Then you go down to traversal toggles and assists. So you can do off-screen ledge guard, prevents inadvertently falling off on-screen ledges.
Oh, that's
auto
awesome.
Glide.
That's like the bumpers on Mario Kart.
Yeah. Automatically glide whenever you're in the air. Hover boot, auto pump, automatically pumps into max speed when using the hover boots. Sprint hover boot mode says hover boot action as either toggled on or off, functions as sprint before hover boots are required. Swing mode says swing action as either toggled on or off. Speedo Boast mode sets Speedo Boast action toggled on or off. Flight assist automatically levels out during flight sequences. Then you have visual displays, which goes HDR. You can do brightness, contrast options, high contrast background, hero shader, enemy shader, interactable shader, hazard shader, collectible shader. Then you have visual screen effects, which is motion blur, depth of field, chromatic aberration, film grain, full screen effects, and screen shake. You can turn it on and off. Then you have the heads-up display. Waypoint display, rift tether prompts, icon prompt size, user interface, parallaxing, center dot, heads-up display, HUD colors, emphasize text colors. You can aim art color, target art color. You got controller shortcuts, controller remapping, simplified traversal, moves all traversal actions to a single button input. This includes rift tether, swing shot, phantom dash, and hover boots.
That's awesome. Yep, that's
great. Shortcuts 1 through 4. Choose an action to map the corresponding shortcut slot. Shortcut options, you can do either photo mode, toggle contrast options, show the objective, game speed options. You can press to play the game at 70, 50%, or 30% of the speed of the game. If you need to play a little bit slower. Weapon quick select, melee combo, melee slam, melee throw, auto glide. And then you have the camera. You have invert up, down, invert left, right, invert flight up, down, invert flight left, right, flight stick, camera sensitivity. Then you have vibration setting, expirational, functional, off. Then you have vibration intensity, adaptive triggers. You have expirational, functional, and off. Then you even have volume. This list keeps going on.
Damn.
Master volume, music volume, speech volume, sound effects volume, user interface volume, and then audio. This last and final, audio balance and modes. You can do audio balance between left and right channels. You can do midnight mode to lower down the settings. Controller speaker, you can turn it on and off. Controller speaker volume, you can turn it up and down.
It's like we're getting this game with the debug unlocked or something.
Yeah.
But that'll be great for like the one button things that I'm just thinking about. More people that can enjoy this game that wouldn't have been able to do so beforehand, and being able to slow it down and all that kind of stuff. It's just the industry has made such strides over. This is the way the game has to be played. It's going to be super hard, and it's made to sink your quarters and keep you from renting from Blockbuster and stuff like that. We're way past all that shit, and it's really great to see. There was a thing I should have put this in notes or something, but Steve Saylor, he goes by the Blind Gamer online on Twitter, and he was talking about playing Halo way back in the day, and it was like the first game he was able to play through. I didn't read the whole thing, but he actually got to tell Marty O'Donnell, that's the composer behind Halo, and he actually played some of the music for him and stuff like that, and it was a real cool moment. So accessibility is awesome. We here don't have any issues playing games. And but it's always great to highlight those who can't, that those options are there for other people, so everybody can enjoy this medium that we do. I think it is great. So that is in the Xbox Insider thing. Who's gonna take the Rockstar story?
I guess it'll be me since I'm wearing that Rockstar T-shirt.
Yeah.
That was so generously donated by a member of the show.
Tell us about the game you're going to buy again.
So, yeah, this comes from The Verge, Andrew Webster. Grand Theft Auto 5 is coming to the PS5 and Xbox series of systems, which is no surprise. Those games are already available through backwards compatibility. This is for the upgraded versions of those games. And they haven't really gone in depth as to all of the new upgrades that will be in the game, but they did say that the game will be available on November the 11th. Because they did announce it for PS5. I remember that was like the first game they showed, which I remember being a little thinking that was a little odd during that show. They hadn't even revealed much about the PS5, and then all of a sudden they're
really want to see this
here's
fucking
the titles.
PS3 game.
And then all of a sudden, first thing is your Grand Theft Auto 5 on PS5, and it's just like, the game you've been playing since you've had a 360 or a PS3 is now transcended onto yet another console.
And they just passed a milestone. Like I see it says 140 million copies in this article, but I saw a recent thing that said 145.
Yeah.
So they're still selling shit tons of copies of GTA 5, and it's only going to be more with this new generation.
Yeah, and of course, that means Grand Theft Auto Online comes along with the next upgrade. With that, they haven't talked about a lot of the improvements. They haven't talked about if there's an upgrade path. I would assume that they want you to just buy a new version. I don't know if there's going to be a Path to Victory version where you just pop in your old one. I mean, obviously they'll probably put out a patch that makes it a little bit better. But if you want those next gen updates or current gen updates, I would assume that they want their money. So
they got it from us before.
Yeah.
I remember being in that
getting
Sony press conference when they announced the PS4 version. Cesar was very excited.
I still am.
He's still excited. All right, years later.
Yes.
You heard it here first.
Many, many years later.
All right, expect more GTA 5.
Next is we have 2 new DualSense controller colors. This came.
The black one looks so fucking good.
I know. Sometime after the show, I think it was the day after the show last week, when we recorded.
Mm-hmm.
But they're releasing 2 new color variants: Midnight Black and Cosmic Red. The black features 2 subtly different shades of black with light gray detailing to reflect how we view space through the night sky. And Cosmic Red offers a
sounds like an apple color.
I know, right? Cosmic Red offers a striking black and red design inspired by unique, vivid shades of red found throughout the cosmos. That red definitely looks more of like a magenta to me from the pictures.
Magenta.
The black looks damn awesome. If you want to see these, either check them out via PlayStation, or I did post when they announced it on our Instagram. So go, you can see these pictures on or picture from the reveal on Instagram.
These are only 6-axis, right? They don't have the rumble in them yet. 12-axis.
You gotta wait for DualShock 5 to come out later and game that equalizes it.
Kojima's next game. Kojima's not gonna release a PS5 game till the new DualShock is out.
And I know you could pre-order these. I'm trying to see. I want to say they were actually going to be available.
It's like June 11th.
I was about to say, I think it was in June.
It was like June 11th from PlayStation, like June 16th from retailers, maybe June 15th, some shit like that.
Something like that. It's not in this PlayStation blog article, but I do remember it was in June.
That black one looks like what should have shipped with the.
It's what I wanted to begin with.
They also talked about Returnal's haptic feedback. That wasn't out there. That news wasn't out there. I guess they hadn't talked about it before like that.
I guess.
Right.
They went through some article where they went through many different games using the DualSense controller. So.
Yeah, Brent, you were saying Returnal's Reign didn't feel quite as good as.
To me, it really didn't. It.
I'm waiting to see what Ratchet does with it. As crazy as their weapons and stuff are, it's going to be insane.
I think Ratchet is going to be the true benchmark, I think, for that PS5, at least at the moment.
Oh, the Days of Play sale is coming up. Did y'all see that it's going to be like Spider-Man, Demon's Souls? There's a couple other games. Sackboy. Have y'all seen prices?
Be the first.
Have you seen prices on those yet?
No. I think they just announced kind of what, like, the framework of the sale. I don't think they announced any hard prices
yet.
Probably
$20 off. Probably $49.99. Would that be a safe bet? I mean, I'd love to see more. I'd love to see.
I would about to say I would gamble because those are still so new.
Yeah.
You might get $10 off. I mean, $20 if they really are trying to push those titles. But again, this is the first sale that these titles will have digitally, and I mean it's only going to be available on the digital titles. So at least the people that have the digital only versions of PS5 are finally getting a break on their game if they're going to buy during the sale, rather because they can't pop into the local game retailer and get a pre-owned copy.
Get a disc. Yep. Did the PS5 digital is the same hard drive space as the disc one, right? The literal only difference in those 2 SKUs is the disc drive.
Yes,
absolutely.
Correct.
Man, they went 2 totally different routes, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're seeing even though they're so tech similar, we're seeing that deviation as far as it's going to be interesting. I've said since before launch, it's going to be interesting how these 2 strategies play out, and just watching how each one of them performs and does. All right, Cesar, you want to grab this Nintendo Switch Online and tell us these great 5 titles we got?
Yeah, they added more games and they suck. All right, so
moving on. Next news.
There's a couple gems.
no, they're all garbage. All right,
By
Nintendo
gems,
Switch
you mean
Online
Magical
reaches
Drop
more
2,
than 100
Brett.
retro games. This is from The Verge. Sam Byford. They added the latest additions this time is Caveman Ninja Joe and Mac, which has not been on anything ever. This is the SNES version ported by Data East, which has also been released separately, re-released again on Switch and PS4. Magic Drop 2, another one from Data East. This was originally on the Neo Geo. Super Baseball Simulator 1.000, SNES baseball game released by Culture Brain in 91.
This is not a bad baseball game, by the way. It's like robots and shit, but it's not bad.
I still prefer balls. Spanky's Quest, a 1991 SNES action game by Natsume about a monkey with a magic bubble. Well done. And then Ninja Jajamaru-kun, a popular Jellico NES action game released in 85. It was only ever released in Japan, but it did come to the Wii Virtual Console around the world in 2007. And he makes a note, so still no Earthbound.
Still no Earthbound.
I'm looking on here. I don't think there was an NES thing, right? That was just it. It was the Super Nintendo games?
Yeah.
Yep.
No. The Ninja
Jajamaru.
Maru-kun. Yeah.
Whatever.
Which watching the thing for that game, I was like, what is this game? And then all of a sudden he like does some weird move and like summons a big frog and is riding on the frog. I was like, okay, now I'm sold.
Now you're in after that.
You could do that, or you can do what I did and just buy the collection and get all 6 games.
Oh, there we go.
So now I have all 6 versions
of the Ninja
Maru-kun.
What collection is that you're showing off, Cesar, for our audio listeners?
It's the Ninja Jajamaru-kun collection. Literally, that's what it's called.
Did they all come out for NES? I've never heard of this series before.
These, I think, were every version, like NES, Super Nintendo, because this was 85, 86 arcade, 89 arcade, 1990 NES, 91 Super Nintendo, and 2019 when they came out with a new one.
Oh.
Has everything.
I'm seeing on there that is a obviously a Japanese import. Is that Japanese region only, or is that like something you can get from Play Asia? You can get the Asian region version of it that has maybe some English, or does that game even rely at all on text?
So I think if I'm not mistaken, they released it on the eShop for America. I'm gonna check real quick.
I thought it was available on the virtual. Yeah, it says it was available on the Wii Virtual Console in 2007.
No, that collection.
Oh, the collection.
That
together?
collection, they that one I just showed you. You're asking if there's an English version of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think, if I remember correctly, I think this is where it gets weird because I imported that one from Amazon Japan. They did come out with an English physical release, but it sold out instantly and it's pretty expensive to get now.
Damn.
They only
of course.
Very, very limited run on it.
Who wound up producing it? I don't think it was limited run. Was it like super limited or
a company that most people never heard of called Dispatch Games?
Dispatch Games?
Yep.
My favorite thing about games on disc is the patches.
Yep. Just you do it without the K and without the C in there. So I guess it's not on. I guess this is not on the. I don't see it on the eShop in America, but they did a American release of it on PS4 and Switch, and it sold out instantly, and it's pretty expensive to get on eBay. So,
but it's still available digitally. And now we get the NES one free with our $20 a year subscription.
Yeah.
Why am I paying this? So I can play Donkey Kong Country once every 6 weeks when I think about it.
Yeah.
And Link to the Past.
But that is your Nintendo hot take releases of the decade.
And that means
they were very proud that that brought their total available titles to play on the service to over 100 games.
104
Such
exactly.
value.
They released a press briefing stating that there are over 100 titles.
And then somebody had tweeted my favorite picture meme online where there is a influential figure giving themselves a medal, which always makes me laugh.
Yes.
So,
Oh, that's a good one.
giving themselves the Medal of Freedom as congratulations on a job well done.
Oh, that's a good one.
But they represent Nintendo articles out of it, so.
Coming soon to Game Pass. This comes from the Xbox Wire, not PlayStation Blog, but Xbox Wire from Megan Spur, the community lead of Xbox Game Pass. A bunch of new games are coming to Game Pass. We have SnowRunner. I'm just going to list them.
Yeah,
let's go.
Pickle 2, Plants vs. Zombies, Battle of the Neighborhood.
I thought you said Pickle 2. I said Pickle 2?
Pickle 2. Fusion Frenzy. How was that not on there? It's first party now, right? Joyride Turbo, MechWarrior 5, Conan Exiles, The Catch, Carp and Course. What is this?
I was waiting for you to say Carp and Diem.
Holy shit. SnowRunner, Maneater, The Wild of Heart, Knockout City, which actually looks pretty cool. That's that dodgeball looking Splatoon-esque game.
Mm-hmm.
Slime Rancher, Spellforce 2, Secret Neighbor, and Solasta.
That was their outside of maybe their stealth launch or Dragon Quest builders was, I think Dodgeball City was the one they were upping as their big release for May, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's their big association with EA Play. It's coming through there.
Because I know next month their big release is with the Dark Alliance is their big release next month, where they try to do one new release a month. I think that Dodgeball one was the one for this month.
I immediately canceled my Dark Alliance pre-order. I was like, I'll fucking play that on Game Pass. You just saved me. It was only $40 still, but it saved me $40. I'll play it through there, and if it's garbage, I'll just delete it. Knockout City, the Cesar was mentioning, day one with Xbox Game Pass for PC and Ultimate with EA Play. Calling all brawlers, team up and duke it out in Knockout City, where epic dodgeball battlers settle the score in team-based multiplayer matches. Throw, catch, pass, dodge, and tackle your way to dodgeball dominance. I feel like Maneater's been free on everything at some point.
It has been.
Fusion Frenzy. It's a great original Xbox title. Slime Rancher, I feel like it's been free on like Epic Game Store and everywhere else.
Maybe even Amazon at some point.
Yeah. Here's another important bit. There's more cloud-enabled games with touch controls. I noticed this when I launched up. I tried out Game Pass on iPad. It's been about 2 weeks ago, and it still didn't perform well for Halo. But I'm not on my iPad is old enough now. All of a sudden, God, it feels like 3 years. But my iPad is now on the list of like non-recommended Game Pass cloud things. So I don't know if that is why it acts up or what.
Is that even a thing?
Apparently, they have officially endorsed iOS devices that they released. But these games have gotten touch controls, so you can just play in a tablet with normal controls. And that's Banjo-Tooie, which I don't know why you would want to play a platformer like that with a screen.
Yeah.
Call of the Sea, Genesis Noir, Narita Boy, Nier Automata, Become as Gods Edition. How's that playable with whatever? It's out there for somebody. Somebody's like, yes, I've been waiting on this. Rain on Your Parade and 2 Point Hospital, which to me seems the most accessible for the touch interface. There's a bunch of new perks. Leaving May 31st is always important. Assetto Corsa, Broforce, Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 plus 2.5, Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8, which all that sounds like a bunch of nonsense. Sorry if you're joining this video game podcast. We play a lot of video games, and it still doesn't fucking make sense to us. Surviving Mars.
It makes kind of sense to me.
It's garbage, Brant. You know it. Surviving Mars and Void Bastards, which I hear is also quite good. So I also expect coming up there to be... Oh, Final Fantasy 12 got added to Game Pass? I don't remember that. That was in February. Wow.
Yeah.
And I know 10 and 10.2 just went up like the end of last month.
Yeah, I think
E3's coming up. I think there's going to be some more sales, but they're still doing that. You know, if you haven't converted to Ultimate yet, you can do the $1 thing and get Ultimate for... It says your first 3 months of Game Pass Ultimate for $1. It's pretty fucking good. Get you in that ecosystem. All right, we've been teasing it. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. There is a gorgeous, this comes from The Verge, but there is a gorgeous amiibo that Nintendo announced of Zelda with a loft wing from the upcoming HD remake of The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Looks super cool. It's $25. It's one of the best looking amiibo that I have ever seen. And then the news broke on what the amiibo actually does, and I'm actually kind of upset about it. There's been some follow-up comments made by Nintendo to clarify, and it's still not good. So basically the gist of it, and this comes from the Verge article, fast travel in Skyward Sword is normally only accessible at in-game save points, a remnant of the more rigid Zelda design the game launched with on the Wii in 2011. So you would have to go to like a statue, or you'd have to be at certain parts of a dungeon or the overworld. I've played exactly 5 hours of Skyward Sword, all with Cesar, who slept through 3 of them, famously. So this will be my introduction fully into Skyward Sword. When this new amiibo is placed on the Switch in the HD remake, you can automatically return to the sky to restock on items or upgrade something, and then return to wherever you were without missing a beat. So, the problem with this is that this feature, which is like an essential part of the game, of an improvement in this game, is gated outside of the title unless you pony up for this $25 amiibo. Which,
yeah.
I'm a Zelda collector. I don't collect amiibo like I used to, but I've got almost all the Zelda ones because I enjoyed playing Breath of the Wild and like scanning in my amiibo and watching the costumes fall, or the treasure chest fall from the sky, and hoping my costume was in there and that kind of stuff. And it was just a cosmetic thing, you know. It wasn't really a functionality. I wasn't using it to spoof the game or anything. I wanted the like Ocarina Link Zelda. I called him Zelda.
Yeah.
I wanted the Ocarina Link costume, you know, the green hat and the tunic and all that kind of stuff. And it was fun to like get fish, and you would just get random shit that would fall out of the chest. So this seems to be a great. They took a complaint about Skyward Sword, about the archaic nature of it and the more unforgiving, you know, and they could have made it. They could have put it in the game and made it super accessible, and instead it's locked to this $25 toy that, this is the point I was trying to get around to, it's probably not going to be easy to find when it comes out. Which, where do you guys stand on this whole thing?
I mean, it's not game breaking. It is definitely helpful, but like you said, it makes everything definitely more convenient, and it's obviously something they could have just put as an improvement to the game. It's a little odd that they locked this functionality to the NFC of this amiibo.
Almost like, and we're gonna get to this when we discuss Mass Effect, but the sniper rifle in the original Mass Effect was noticeably like shaky. The shooting was just like, you had to really hone in on something. It was kind of a gamble to try to shoot, and they fixed the shooting in Mass Effect. So imagine not having that, or knowing that it's in the game, but I have to have an amiibo to put down, or like a sniper rifle amiibo that I have to pay $25 for on top of the game that I've already got to make the gun shoot properly. I don't know if it's that. Maybe that's not quite the right analogy, but a feature that, you know, people complained about and they fixed is now locked behind this thing, and and I know I'm not always gonna have, when I'm playing Skyward Sword, I'm not always gonna have a damn amiibo sitting next to me. I know we're all at home, but
no. So I kind of went through this, and this would be a rather annoying workaround. Animal Crossing. I was the Animal Crossing guy for a minute.
You still are.
Before I came on this podcast.
No one's taking your crown. Someone has to take your crown for you to not be the guy.
No, you can have it.
So
I don't want to get too far off.
We can hear you
you're talking about. Out of all the Animal Crossing games ever made, I got 60 hours total, and it's only that one game. That's it. I own them all.
So to get certain villagers, you could scan in a lot of those amiibo cards, and there were certain villagers I wanted. And I could look up and see there was amiibo cards, but the amiibo cards at this point are harder to get, and because of the popularity of the game at the time, people were jacking up the prices. So I looked up, and there was a workaround. There is a app you can buy, or not buy, but download, at least for my Android phone. I'm sure there's something equivalent for iOS, that basically turns your phone into a discoverable Joy-Con. And you can download and find all of the code for all of the amiibo cards. And so basically you turn your phone into a discoverable Joy-Con, you connect it to the Switch, and then you turn on
Discover Card Amiibo.
Pretty much. You
turn your phone into a Discover Card, which tells you about it and get you amiibos.
You turn on you have to have the files on your phone, but you say scan amiibo, and you have to be decently quick, but you tap whatever code you want and it'll load it like you just scanned an amiibo, and it'll load into the Switch. But then you have to do that every time. And I mean, for villagers, you had to do it every day for 3 days and do stuff for this villager. But I could, and that was kind of tedious on its own. I could see having to disconnect, reconnect your phone and scan, or, kind of fake scan this amiibo every time you wanted to return.
A hassle.
Would be, oh gosh, exhausting.
Didn't they make like NFC cards that you can buy, like Etsy people and such, that you can... Okay.
Oh yeah.
So that might end up being the better route to go.
I actually prefer the route of using that as my Discover Card, because that'll probably be the only thing I can actually use a Discover Card on.
I don't have any sort of Discover Card.
What the fuck can you use a Discover Card on? Excuse me.
What year is this?
I don't know. Where are you going to place? Where have you ever gone anywhere where we're like Discover Card only accepted here? It would be in a place where it's the 1980s and it's a mall-based place.
Yeah. I'm not keen on this, and the game's already $60, and so you're looking at The Verge actually points out it's $85 when you get to this point, and that's kind of Again, I mean, if you're a Zelda fan
and scalpers are going to be involved in this, because like you said, it'll be harder to snatch up, and now with this knowledge, people are going to buy these things up and then jack the price up to at least double. I mean, $50, $60, maybe more for a single amiibo.
The game looks awesome. The little clips they showed, it's a beautiful looking game.
Yeah, it's okay when it gives you weird stuff like more rupees or random stuff. Or
cosmetics. Yeah,
that is fine. But for a gameplay feature, that sucks.
Oh, what a soundtrack too. All right, we beat that into the ground. Let's finish on a high note.
Let's finish on
This is not a low note. Get the fuck out of here. So we've talked on the show probably since the show started. There's been rumors of a Time Splitters game or port or something like that. In this past week,
that was not.
What's that?
Front.
I know. I need to try that out. I need to see that remaster that's in there. So this actually came out this past week on May. Was it yet? No, it was today. It was earlier today. Yep, Time Splitters is officially finally making its grand return. This comes from Push Square. After the IP was procured by Koch Media, the idea of the beloved FPS franchise come back from the dead was suddenly a real possibility. Now, in a new announcement from publisher Deep Silver, a new entry in the series is officially underway. In a statement shared on social media, Deep Silver confirms the exciting news that it has re-established Free Radical Media in order to revive Time Splitters. So not only is Time Splitters coming back, it's Free Radical, and it's the people who made Free Radical. The statement says, "You asked and we listened. We have been working on plans to bring the Time Splitters franchise back to life and are pleased to let you know that we are setting up a new Deep Silver development studio to do just that. Free Radical Design is reforming and will be headed up by industry and Time Splitters veterans Steve Ellis and David Doak. This is an exciting first step in the process. Development on a new game has not yet started, and we will update you when we have more news to share." David Doak. These are, of course, Perfect Dark and GoldenEye alumni as well. This was these are the breaks. So these are the breaks. They broke from Rare and made I love Time Splitters 2. It was one of my favorite games from that generation. We made so many crazy maps with that map editor and game modes, and there was one called, we did it with a bunch of monkeys. It was like a viral thing. It might have been called Virus, but one person starts off with the virus, and then as you pass that character, they hand it off to you. So then it just becomes this mad thing of trying to stay away from these characters. And you could change their attributes. You can make them run faster. You can make them like almost like Perfect Dark, where you have the revenge sims and stuff like that. So I'm very excited for this. Even if it's just we end up getting ports of the old ones to start off with. Maybe that's what they start off with to get up to date on game development. What do you think? Anybody else have Time Splitters nostalgia like me?
I would imagine you would just let the new studio do the new game, and you find some other studio to port the old stuff.
Yeah,
that's what I would do. But I mean, freaking THQ Nordic got so many studios that they can probably do that. Just give it to the remaster studio. That's all they do. So.
We talked about them. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? Yeah.
They just bought them. So yeah, and that's all they literally done is
now
just
they're
remasters.
They're under their umbrella, so why not get them on it, right?
I apologize because I forgot they are doing the expansion for the Re-Reckoning, which is
new content.
Yep, I apologize.
An expansion to a game from that long ago.
It's better than who had it before. So
Kurt Schilling. Speaking of which, my cleats cut. I'm playing baseball again. My cleats cut the back of my foot. I had a bloody sock. Oh, we've officially come full circle on Kurt Schilling. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. And that's the end of our show.
Here. No games played.
Yep. We'll end it on Kurt Schilling, which nobody should ever do.
No, nothing should ever end on Kurt Schilling. He doesn't seem like a great human being. Oh man, I'm excited for Time Splitters. But it may be, when these new old IPs show up, and we're a little bit different because we keep our games. So we always have those accessible. Like I can go play every Time Splitters game right now if I wanted to. So it's not like they shit the bed on this one and it just, there was almost no chance of us ever getting this franchise back again. And now there's a chance at potentially having, another game may come out. It hasn't started development, but they're trying to put the right people in the right places. And just that promise of a new title, good or bad, it may be not great, but I still have those old titles. But just for it to be back in the mix again and people talking about it, not just asking for it, it's really cool to see that come about. Dr. Doak, you remember having to go see him in GoldenEye in the very beginning? Cesar, you never played that campaign.
Yep.
I've never even held a controller with the GoldenEye ever.
They rendered he's in the lab in the very beginning with 006.
I'll die on that hill. I'll just keep popping in the Wii version.
Okay,
with
that's your definitive GoldenEye experience.
I'll die on that hill.
People start talking about GoldenEye, and Cesar's like, the motion controls weren't that great. They're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
They were fucking amazing. Get out of here. They're gonna see me out in the streets like, get that bastard, beat him down. What did I do to deserve this?
Play the. It's one of our favorite multiplayer games. Cesar's like, the motion controls were great, especially having 4 people with Wii remotes all together.
I was so glad when they ported it over the PS3 later, and someone's like, "What the fuck is he talking about?"
Man, speaking of lost ports, I would love to get an official release of that 360 one. I know you can play it on modded system and this, that, and the other. Like, it's out.
Yeah.
But it would be so cool to have that officially released and available for everywhere. All right, where are we at time-wise? We're an hour in. Not bad, gentlemen.
Killing it. No more of these fucking hour and 48 minutes.
I don't know. We haven't started talking Mass Effect yet.
We're really gonna go 48 minutes in Mass Effect and cut Brant out completely.
40 minutes of Mass Effect and 8 minutes of Brant's Rockstar games. Brant, do you want to start off? Because I think Mass Effect's my major game played. Is it yours, Cesar?
It is literally the only game I played this week. It's also my favorite store in the Citadel.
Favorite store in the Citadel?
You haven't gotten there yet.
I can't afford anything in the Citadel. Yeah, they opened up this Spectre shop for me, and I'm looking at the prices. I'm like, why the fuck did you give me this? I can't buy this shit.
Go on, Brent. Hurry before we get started.
Where are you going?
We'll never
stop. This week I've really only... Returnal still has its claws in me. I got back into it. And I mean, I got to the point where I started seeing the house and started experiencing some of like these weird flashbacks of Celine's memories and stuff. And it's barely, but it's still, I mean, it gives you enough to just make you want to keep going. And eventually I got to this point where I got to the first like boss fight, and it took a couple tries. And the one thing with Returnal, I mean, it definitely has to do with skill, but there is definitely, because it's a roguelike game, there's a little bit of luck involved. And by a little, I mean a decent amount, because
It's mostly just luck.
there's there's like hidden areas you can find, and you might get lucky and get dropped into an area and it gives you an extra key, or you drop in and there's like 3 chests and you've got a decent chance at pulling a decent weapon, or you could just get dropped into an area and then there's a big ass enemy that's just massive and will like tear you up before you can like try and run around it and leave the area real quick. And there's some other areas where, and I learned really quick which area it was, that you can get locked in, and it just does waves and waves and waves of enemies.
Is there any way to get out, or you're stuck?
Die and redo
In the room,
and
or you get out of the room when you die.
No. Just in the room, because I mean, I'd last a few waves, and then all of a sudden, like before I can get my wits back about me, there's more enemies just spawned again, and it was everywhere. And like I said, I mean, everything kind of changes once you die and return. It's different, but it stays the same. Like, you will see a lot of the same rooms, but it will not be in the same layout. You'll see different rooms and different areas and things, but for the most part, you'll go somewhere and you're like, okay, I've been in this kind of area before, because there's the house, and I actually got into the house and experienced a little bit of that.
I don't want to play this. I want to play this and try it, but I want to.
No,
I want to watch.
It's so good, but yeah, I think it would be one of those things.
What?
Where I would
NTR it? You trying to NTR?
It's one of those things where I wish I could just like I'm gonna just wind up having to let you borrow this. I really wish they would release the first area or something, or a timed demo of the first area, just to give people a taste.
You can't beat the game in 20 minutes, right?
Not unless you've gotten to the point where you've gotten a lot more permanent upgrades.
It'd be a safe demo, like the bullshit. Y'all remember the 3DS demos that they would release, and it's like you can play it 5 times, or you can play it 10 times.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is I've gotten to where I can do a few more things. Like, I talked about how there was barriers keeping me from getting to certain places, and you actually wind up picking up this melee weapon. It's like this thing that's like it's a big sword, and it actually allows you not only to do melee, but you can use it, because it kind of emits this energy. You can use it to get past those barriers, which again opens up and lets you explore more. But that's the thing, is if you get decent weapon, decent drops and things, you can have a real good run. But there's other times where you're just going to get screwed. And you're just going to have to, I mean, no matter if you've been playing 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or an hour, and then you're going to go back to the beginning. I feel
like I have
and
time
I find
something like that. How long do these runs last?
It depends. It really does. I mean, like I said, it could be 10, 15 minutes. And especially if you get good drops. But again, it could be an hour or more, because I finally beat the boss, and I got this thing that's called the Crimson Key, and I kept going to this room, and it's like all these alien statues and stuff like everywhere, and it's this giant area that's all red, and there was like this kind of broken thing laying on the ground that I needed this key for, and I get it, and it opens up this giant gate, like almost looking like a Stargate or something. And you step through it.
Careful.
You step through it, and you go through. You go from everything they've shown you in the trailers and everything is basically from the first area, and it's it's very dark, it's gloomy, and it feels kind of closed off. But then this second area that I got to is this vast red open desert, and there's 6 different biomes in all.
And you just made it to the second
so
one?
There's several different. Yeah.
So is that supposed to be like a short word for Biodome, like the movie Biodome with Pauly Shore?
Definitely not, buddy.
Well done.
But it was a new area to explore. I was like, completely like taken in again by this game, and I'm starting to go through, and the enemies are completely different. They're doing, more attacks, different attacks, and then I come across enemies that look the same as some of the generic enemies I've been fighting, except now they're about, I'd say 3 to 4 times bigger. And I'm trying to escape from them, and then eventually I'm just following where I can go and where I see, and because I told you there was a mysterious signal, and then once you go through and once you found the signal, that's the boss fight. Once you go through this gate, there's a mountain, and you get one of your corpses again. You pick up this audio log, and it says something about you're compelled to climb the mountain. You don't know why, and this, that, and the other. You just feel that there's something there for you, so you go towards the mountain. And as I'm going towards, I get into this one area, and then all of a sudden I just get rained on by some attack, and I see this enemy like kind of dart in front of me as I'm like falling, and I'm like, damn. And it flashes the crash, and I'm right back at the beginning. I'm like, does that mean I have to fight the boss again, or does it mean I'm just gonna be able to go to that second area again? Or I don't know yet. And I was kind of like, I kind of don't want to know, because if I've got to fight this enemy again, I'm probably just gonna go ahead and pop in Resident Evil and do that.
Yep.
And beat that before I get back to Returnal.
Peace.
But like I really do enjoy this game, and the combat and the controls are very satisfying. They're very smooth. Everything works great. But the progression from this game, it feels a lot slower than some of the other roguelikes. Because, I mean, I've heard, Hades is pretty decent about it, and I know I played Dead Cells, where you can go through runs and runs and runs, and you can do them pretty quick, but you have this feeling as you're getting these different power-ups and pickups and things like that, you feel like you're actually going farther, and it's easier, and at least
feels like you're making progress.
I know Hades at least has save points during your runs, but I know Returnal at the moment does not. So, I mean, you could play for 2 hours and then all of a sudden hit a block, in a run, and get set all the way back to the beginning of the game. So, I'm going to probably play it one more time, see if I have to take down that boss again. If so, like I said, I'm probably just going to pop in Resident Evil Village and play through that real quick before I come back to Returnal.
You're a better man than me. I'd be out. I'd be like, nope.
On another note, I've been watching some people doing some streams for Resident Evil Village on online, and I've noticed that they got loading screens because they played the PC versions. I had no loading screens on that PS5 one, so
it's an advantage.
Because I was looking at it, what? I was like, what the hell is this? I was like, there was a typewriter and it's showing different screens. I didn't get any of that. I was like, well, I didn't even notice there was no load screens when I was playing through it. It just flowed.
That's awesome.
Naturally.
Definitive edition. Definitive. Man, Brant, that if you have to fight that boss, if you have to go through that boss on every single run, that's it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It took me a couple tries to get its pattern down, because it's one of those where it's multi health bar, tiered health bars, and after each health bar, it kind of like spazzes for a second, and then it goes into a variation of the same sets of attacks it was doing, along with some extra,
right?
To them. So it's one of those you have to kind of stand back and really watch and see, and it's trial by fire.
So the only
deal
is roguelike or light?
Light. I think it's roguelite.
So the only one of those that I have played that I enjoy, and correct me if I'm wrong, does Toe Jam and Earl apply to this type of game? With runs and randomly generated stuff.
I mean, I guess
that would be like a mysterious dungeon. That'd be like a dungeon crawl.
So not even that, because that's the only thing I can seem to equate it to. I'm not, and there's no bosses in that. You just try to find pieces and get to the end.
Yeah. I would say that's maybe a very early inception of the concept. I mean, you have stuff like Spelunky and Dead Cells and oh gosh, I'm trying to remember some of the other. I mean, obviously Hades,
where you have to pick up your stuff.
No, because I mean, Hollow Knight, you're saving. Hollow Knight's definitely Metroidvania.
All right, I swung and missed on both of those. So
no, you're good. I mean, it says a mysterious dungeon is a series of roguelike video games, but Toe Jam and Earl reminds me more of like a mysterious dungeon type thing, where you load up a dungeon. The dungeon has random enemies, random abilities, and random items you get every time you start a level. That's more like that.
You know what I mean, Cesar? It's not like I mean, we've lost more at Toe Jam and Earl than we've beat it, right? And it's always fun. It's never like, fuck this game. I mean, we've had some bullshit stuff happen to us, but I don't know that making progress and then beating a boss and then having to start all the way over and beat the boss and do all that stuff again. I don't know if that would be my cup of tea.
But that's the thing, though, is that, I mean, if it felt like I was losing because it was cheap, or the combat just didn't feel like it was connecting, or all of that, I would be mad at this game. I would be like, man, no, this bull. I'm controller down, I'm moving on. But there's something, and it just keeps this game keeps pulling me back, and
it's drawing him in.
I'm telling you, I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's the constant like tease with the story. It's this mystery, and it, like I said last week, it's almost like Metroid roguelite style. It has that kind of Metroid isolated feel.
Very cool. Brand, have you played anything else?
Nope. We were all in space this week. Tell us about the Mass Effect.
I'll start off first because I know, Cesar, you've gotten further than I. You've beat the first game. This is my probably 5th or 6th attempt at trying to play Mass Effect, and I'm farther again. That's what I try to do with a lot of games. See if I can get further into it.
You'll beat it the next remaster. Don't worry, man. You'll
PS7.
get there.
A PS7 version of Mass Effect is going to be amazing. But I started it on 360. I know it was at the old house, so it had to be about 18 months ago or so. But I just popped it in one afternoon when it was backwards compatible, and I was like, man, this is actually pretty fucking good. But I had the weird sniper rifle stuff, and because I always like playing, like if I get to choose a character class, I'm gonna be stealthy, I'm gonna be distance, that sort of thing. That's how I like playing games. If I have that sort of option. But the shooting on this is way better. The character models are way improved. I'm playing on Xbox Series X with the high frame rate mode and everything, and it's just freaking gorgeous. I forgot how much fun it was, like going through the dialogue wheels. There's some things I'll get where you're interacting with a character and you'll get a dialogue wheel, and it'll say, okay, you can push them on this question, or here's something else you can spin the conversation off to. And I'm like, I'll start with this one. And it fucking ends the conversation. They don't want to talk to you after that. And I'm like, no, I wanted to see where that other one was going to go too. So there's been a couple of moments of that. You start off as
I should go.
I should go.
I should go.
He's famous for that. I'm playing as the male shepherd. Which one did you go with, Cesar?
Generic male shepherd.
The 360 one I did was Fem Shep, but I just did the male one on this one for some reason. You really have to, and I think the first one is more RPG than the second and third ones. Am I right on that, Cesar? Those are more action oriented.
Yeah. You get more depth in your abilities because when you do the level ups, you can categorize it down to different weapons. It gives you different abilities and different weapons, and also your biotics.
So I haven't messed with the biotics yet, and I'm sitting on like 30 something points on the skill stuff. What would you recommend I spend some of the skill points on?
The first thing that I fucked up on because I played the Mass Effect 2 and 3, and I never got through on the first one.
Yeah.
Correct. So in 2 and 3, you have Paragon and Renegade, and your choices and the story is dependent on where you're at in those levels. So there's no skill attributes to those. It's just dependent on your choices you make in that game. You'll get either more good or more bad, and you can continue that route in the story. And from there you get ramifications because if you don't have enough, then certain things can happen to certain characters or certain areas, and you can't save those people, or you end up pissing those people off.
That's the scary part.
So to make a long story short, what I learned the hard way because I lost some characters in Mass Effect Uno is that you make sure you have your charm maxed out because there are story bits in there where you are required to have a certain level of charm. And either you won't be able to, you'll be forced to go on the path of the story. You can kind of change the story around if you max those out. So you're on the generic path if you don't. So the only problem is I was relying on auto level up, and auto level up negates that whole charm and intimidation. So it doesn't not fill those up; it fills those up mainly on everything else. So there was one part of the story where I was screwed, and I was like, oh no, I gotta save this character. And I moved up another level, and I was like, I gave whatever points I have to get up to level 4 on my charm to try to save this character, and it wasn't enough. And I was stuck on the planet. I couldn't get off unless I jumped to an older save, which was like 10 hours before that. And I was like, yeah, it is what it is. I'm stuck. I'll lose this character. And it sucks because the character I can't play because I imported him in the second game. And I played him on the original one, PS3. Because I didn't play, I didn't play Mass Effect on PS3 because they didn't get it. Yeah. They started with 2.
Because you did like his story catch-up thing, something, right?
Comic, yeah. There's a comic you can do the choices, and I saved him in the comic. And his story, dealing with a certain aspect that is a story trait that started in the first game, was very interesting, and I do like that story bit. I guess I'll miss out on it with my playthrough on this one, so it is what it is. So I was like, I'll go back and play the first one again.
Is it one of the main characters, like the people in the party? Because I've recruited everybody at this point. What?
Yes.
One of those people can die?
Yes. There's one person in that party where there's nothing you can do about, and there's one that you could save.
Okay. So, there's one that...
just make sure you have
I'm okay if she dies, because I had a conversation with her, and she's fucking racist as shit. Like, she hates aliens. And it's after this major story beat, and I'm walking around the Normandy talking to everybody, right? Because it seems like that's the thing to do. You get the most lore, you get the most backstory, you find out about the characters, and she's like, I'm a soldier, my parents were soldiers, humanity has to watch out for themselves, we hate it, did she say hate? She's like, we don't trust anybody else, we're gonna look out for us and ours. And I'm telling her, I'm like, no, they're part of the crew, get the fuck out of here. And then the room we're in, when we're having this conversation... She's talking to me in front of this locker. Rex is down, like, I'm looking at him out of the corner of my eye, the big fucking Krogan thing. I'm like, he will fuck you up. I don't know what you're doing talking shit about aliens. He will mess you up. Yeah, I'm not keen on her because I tried to drive the conversation like, the aliens are good. We're new to the galaxy. Because that's the whole premise behind the story, right? Is the humanity discovered this Mass Effect relays on Mars, and it opened us up to the rest of the galaxy, and the Taurians and the what's the blue lady I just recruited? Cesar, what's her race? Asari. The Krogans, the Volus, Solarians. And Solarians.
Solarians.
What is Garrus? What is his race? Turians. That's right. That's what Saren is. So they've all created this like federation, and humanity's trying to make an impact, and they kind of brand you the first human Spectre, or so you think, and then you get a story beat later on. But just the layers that they keep adding onto these characters, and there's so much depth, and I've enjoyed, like, there hasn't been a whole lot of action except driving Cesar's favorite vehicle, the Mako, and shooting the Mako. The shooting is not all that great still. It's and I'm playing on the lowest difficulty, and I'm leveling up my sniper rifle, and I think I'm throwing the right.
You casual
I'm
bastard!
Absolutely
you.
doing it. There's no way casual. I'm making it through on anything else, and I've got 2 more after this. But Cesar, do you change your ammo types depending on what you're facing? Like, I've been fighting a lot of the Geth things, so I've been using the synthetic armor piercing stuff. Do you change it depending on what fight you're coming up on?
I got to the part where I got a cryogenics level 7, and I just left it on that one because after the 3rd or 4th shot, it freezes the enemy and they just burst into
regardless of organic or synthetic or anything.
Okay. Right. So once I came across that one, I've left that as my permanent fixture on all my weapons. So you can do that because there's different attributes where you can get plus 10%, plus 15%, depending on the different ammos. And this is the aspect that's not included in the second game. This is what makes it more of an RPG. So I'll let you go ahead and do your take, and I'll go on my take on one.
Just my overall take of it. I remember when this came out, and I had a roommate at the time who was just gung ho. Like, he bought a TV. He already had the 360. They were all in on Mass Effect at this time. And there's some trademarks of like early next gen title, right? Like they have some wide open spaces that are just there almost to be rendered, like there's nothing else going on. And the story beats are pretty linear, like it's going to lead you from one to the next. But on that note, there's been some things that are not necessarily just laid out. Like there was a bit right before I got I'm gonna mess her up. Liara. I thought I was gonna mess her name up, but the part where I was gonna get Liara, there's like a drill that you have to send down into the ground, and I'm looking around for this code. There's a code that you need to activate the drill. I'm like, where the fuck is this code? I looked all over this room, and really all you're doing is punching in the code like trial and error, and it's just like a 5. It uses the face buttons, the A, B, X, Y, and it's like a 5-button thing trying to figure out what it is. And it took 30 seconds or so, but it's kind of cool that it doesn't spell out exactly what you need to do. You're in the right area, but you don't know exactly what's going on. And it's been kind of cool. I haven't really looked at a guide. I did look up, because the first 2 bits are kind of scripted. You have a mission on Eden Prime, and then you go to the Citadel. And I thought I was going to be in the Citadel for a long time. I still spent probably too much time in there because I kept picking up other people's problems. Like Shepard's just talking to people, and I'm trying to find this guy's wife's body. She died, and they're doing research on her body, and he wants it back for religious purposes. And I'm trying to be this peacekeeper between both factions. And it's just like where the dialogue and stuff can take you is really, really cool. But Cesar, the planets that you can land on, I kind of guessed to find where to find Liara. They tell you what system she's in, and then you just kind of look at each planet and read a description. I thought that's what I was going to have to do, but then I got to one that just said land. So does it kind of guide you, but not hold your hand as far as getting to those places?
So in this game, it's like you said earlier. I mean, you get a lot of freedom in this game. It's up to you and how to play it. And this is the only game in the series out of all 3 of them that is like this. The 2 and 3 is more linear. It kind of directs you into a path. There's still some aspects on there where you can get there's some stuff you can miss out on if you don't look for it, but it's not as difficult or buried into it like the first one is. So if you could, on the first game, literally just go through, follow the beats of the story, and get everything you need out of it, but then you'll miss out on all the additional lore from any characters, because there's nothing on there that'll ask you to speak to anybody in your crew. Kind of like you did with Ashley Williams. To find out more about her background. I went through the whole game without talking to Ashley. I never liked Ashley the first couple times I played her. So I just skipped out her dialogue altogether because I knew what she was going to say. So I literally went through the game without hearing any of her thoughts or feelings or anything like that. So you can play the game like that and just go through the main story, or you can sit there and interact with Ashley's a romanceable character, so is Liara.
By the way.
So those are not options that are given to you unless you go and take the time to speak with them and then develop those relationships.
I'm gonna talk to her whenever I have downtime, just to see if I can curb her attitude and see if I can.
Well, mate, you can have her, you can have Caden, the guy, and then you can have Liara. I think those are your 3 options in this game, depending on which route you want to go.
Romancing or what?
Romancing.
It's Ashley, Caden,
but it's not required. Liara.
Okay, I know where this is gonna go.
Sorry. Liara.
I already like her too. She's a freaking archaeologist.
She's a good character. Yeah, she's a good character. She's like a caught archaeologist that got caught up by Indiana Jones style.
I just want to go to these places and research. I'm really boring, and I'm like, no, your mom's got a very twisted past, and we found you in this bubble. We had to send a drill out underneath it to get you out of this bubble.
So if we're going to go over the story a little bit, how far are you in this game? That way I know where not to go into. I've just gotten
Liara, and I have found out she has enjoyed the vision that my shepherd has gotten from the beacon, and it's put to
a little too much. She enjoyed it a little too much. I was like, man,
she's buried in books and researching. So like when I'm telling her this story, and you see it go off, where she's like, oh yeah, that does make sense because. There was a sentient being, blah, 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 and she goes in. I mean, she puts the pieces together, and that part is really, really freaking cool.
So her character and her species is very well written. So they live a long time.
And they can breed.
So
she's like 100 any species. Yep.
Any species, yeah, and any gender as well. None of that's required. So her character is really well written because she's only 106, and I guess it's like the equivalent of like barely a teenager, just 20 because they live up to 1,000 years. And after they get towards the end of their life cycle is similar to her mother, which they become a matriarch and somebody of a symbol of respect in their culture, somebody wise.
I'm intrigued by the mom. I've seen one scene with the mom, and they've referenced her a couple times, but I don't know anything else about her.
So at the part of the game, it splits you off into 3 choices you can get. So after the way the game follows is that you're on the Citadel.
I'm headed to another place. I got Liara. Now I'm headed to one of the other 2 places.
So when you start the game, you're going to a human colony. You're with a Spectre named Nihilus, and they explain to you that this is like a trial run for humanity to join the Spectres.
Or so we thought.
Quotation marks. So as you go in, there's a beacon, a Prothean beacon on this settlement that you're going to pick up. As you go there, you see that the settlement is getting attacked, and they are Geth, which is inorganic beings that are attacking this area. And you pick up the racist. Ashley's there. So after you lose random guy who dies in the very beginning with the first shot. Leroy. So as you go there, you are with Nihilus. Is not part of your team, but Nihilus runs into another Spectre
who he knows
and
Saren. Respects and is talking to.
Correct. Who instantly betrays him. But it's neither here or there. He waited till it turned his head and shot him in the back of the head. Outside of this, you see that Saren is leading this so-called rebellion to get the Prothean beacon. Some things happen, and like you said, it causes Shepard to see a vision which he can't tell what is or what's not. So he goes to Ambassador Udini, which is very Star Wars-ish.
The ambassador is very passionate. We're jumping back to all his speeches were very passionate. He's a hothead.
Yeah. So this is very Star Wars and Star Trek. You can see all this stuff kind of scattered throughout.
Because humanity is the new face on the block, and nobody really listens or respects their viewpoints on anything.
Yeah, it's like you said. Humanity found a Prothean beacon on Mars, and that's what caused them to accelerate into space travel and discover these other races. So they go into the Citadel with Ambassador Udini, who they want to go before the Council to present their findings of Saren and Shepard's vision. The council was made up of a Tyrian, a Solarian, and an Asari, one of each of the major races. You get additional races in the second game. There's like a vampire-based one that looks like the Man-Bat from the Spider-Man animated cartoon show.
Specific.
It actually looks like a Morpheus from that.
Morbius.
Yeah, that's what they look like. But that's in the second.
Looks like
game.
Lawrence Fishburne.
Exactly. Outside of that, they give you a task to. They don't make you Spectre instantly, right? They make you Spectre instantly there.
You become a Spectre, yes.
Yep. Spectre, the first one. Okay. So from that point off, they give you 3 points of locations. One where the Geth was sighted, one where the Matriarch was located, and then one where you are looking for a specialist in Protheans, which is an Asari. Liara.
That's young Liara.
Her last known
and that mission was a lot of fun. It was very straightforward, but it was fun.
As this game goes out, it doesn't tell you like where Liara is. It kind of expects you to go to those areas, and it gives you a location. Like, all right, this is the Telio system, the Ilio system.
So it told me a system, and it told me there were Prothean ruins there. So I figured it out from there. And it was, like I said, it was the only place I could land. Like, I was reading all the descriptions, but it was the only one that said land. So I was like, all right, let's go there.
So as you go into different universes, there's different planets. On the planets, when you click on them, some of them will just give you information, backstory, how many light years it is from the planet, how the ecosystem and the climate is on that planet. You can read that as you may. Sometimes you click on them, they'll give you, they'll do an automatic scan and give you resources that is found on that planet.
Just by clicking on it?
So, yeah, that's why it checks to click on all of them. As you go through, there are certain planets in the solar system. There's usually at least one in each one planet that you can land on.
In each system.
The story-based ones, or the ones that you'll get out. The other ones that are the Mako-based ones are instantly you land on that planet in the Mako, which is a vehicle that sucks.
It's not fun to steer. And it has a little rocket thing. Like, I got stuck on some rocks, and I was pressing every button I could because I'm getting shot by these lasers at the same time. And I pressed A, and it had like this little boost thing that moved me over the rocks.
It's sad that how I somehow retain a lot of this information from this game, and I can retain no information from anything else. But as you land on that planet, you can open up a map. They'll give you points of interest. Those points of interest will either be a story-based side story that
the local map
that you either get from the game. And the side stories in this game are not given to you. You have to like explore the Citadel. There'll be one where a lady at a bar was missing her sister, trying to get her back, and there's another one where like there's this. My brother went onto this planet. There's a distress. I haven't heard from him in so long, and that's how you get these different side beats for different stories on different planets. You'll sometimes get missions for the Alliance. So I
got one from a terminal. Like, I read some computer terminal, and it's trying to get me to investigate something somewhere, and I have no clue where it's at. But I don't know how much of the side stories I'm going to do on this one. I don't know if I'm going to deep dive Mass Effect Uno.
There's one side story that's very and I think it might be the Bring in the Sky one if I remember correctly. That's the one where it leads into the second game, which is
I'll make sure to do that.
That's probably the one to do. So outside of that, as you go through the map, they'll have the side stories. They'll have different resources. The resources will just, I think, give you money that you can mine. And then there's beacons, ruins, like Prothean ruins you'll randomly find that is not part of the story. And sometimes those will give you information to go search another part of the galaxy to continue another side story. As you said before, the gameplay is the most RPG is out of all three of them. It gives you a whole list of skills, one tied to each weapon, some tied to the biotics, and biotics are like their version of magic.
Because I don't really enjoy that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It's fine. I've used it. Actually, I gotten used to using that R1 to pull up the menu and then use like overload and other stuff on enemies because it does help, and you will need it later on depending on how you get on there. It does help.
R1 is that quick wheel,
you just
where
have
you can assign them.
R1's quick wheel for biotics. L1 is quick wheel for weapon changes. So you can change. Just make sure you can equip each weapon. You can equip all the weapons. You can equip a sniper rifle, a shotgun, a pistol, a assault rifle, but you can only map 2 of them to the touchpad where you can switch into back and forth instantly. You can hold L1 to assign a different one that is not currently equipped in there.
Gotcha.
In this game, there is no ammo, which the one thing I miss. In the second game, you have ammo. In this first game, it recharges. You get like a cooldown meter, kind of like Halo is, where it goes all the way down, and you got to go down. That's gone in the second game. You have to collect ammo. So enjoy it. It is more like the second game is more like Gears without the active reload.
Okay.
I'm going around. I
love knowing that I don't have to worry about ammo. I just watch for the cooldown because I'll be going off in the sniper rifle and I'm looking down. It's like beep 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 beep. Fuck, let me shoot.
Another thing that you'll enjoy that I miss is that they map. I think for you would be the Y button. For me, it's triangle. The med gels to that button. So when I need it, I press it, and there's still an ability to raise the people who have died in your team. That's one of your biotics that you'll need. I forgot what it's called. It's like team or something like that to bring people back to life. That med gel thing is completely gone in the second game, so there's no way for me to heal. So I'm just bringing people back to life as they die, but you die permanently. There's no way you can heal when your life starts going down. You're fucked. So enjoy that while you have it. I do miss that. This is the first time I've gone through the first game, so this is stuff that I knew instantly. Like, okay, I know these are different and whatnot.
Right.
So I've already mentioned the charm stuff and everything on there. I'm not going to go too much in the story because you're going through it. The only thing I can add on there is I did read 2 Mass Effect books. They're both written by Drew Karpyshyn, who also wrote this original first 2, at least, if I remember correctly. The first one was called Revelation. That is the backstory for Saren, and that also talks about David Anderson as well as Kathleen Sanders.
I read that when it came out, 13 years ago, 14 years ago?
That's the one where you find out about the indoctrination and what Saren's always been indoctrinated, but neither here nor there. But they talk about that in the game. Yeah, the other one, I forgot what the other one was called. I think it was Ascension, if I remember correctly.
Revelation. There's like 3. There's 4 total, right?
It's Ascension.
Yeah.
It's Ascension. Yeah. I mean, these are the only ones that I've read personally, and this one fills the gap between the first and the second game. So, I'll leave that at that. I won't go any further with the story because that's where you're at. You're probably about 30%.
Okay. I'm making progress.
The game.
Look at me.
It won't take long. I think it took me 17 hours to beat the game, and I just did maybe half.
I'm 5 hours in, so that checks out.
It's a short game. Yeah, it's a short game. Yeah. It's a short game. So I went ahead and I loaded up the second game, imported my character. This starts out a story beat. It's not a plot twist or a spoiler, but in the second game, you start out, the Shepard dies. And this is their way to kind of reset the game because they kind of changed the play style and they figured, all right, if we kill the Shepard in the story and then rebuild him, that's a good way to explain like why this game plays so differently than the first game. As you go through it, you'll notice that as you level up, there's no skill-based points tied to any weapons anymore. It's all tied to biotics and in different ammos like incendiary, cryo ammo. You can level those up.
Bioshock-esque as far as that goes.
Mm-hmm. This game plays more like a third person over the shoulder. It's close to the Gears probably. This is Unreal Engine. So, you do, like I mentioned before, you have to get ammo. As you do the story beat, it takes place X amount of time, 20XX or whatever after the first game. I'll leave it at that. You can explore that as you see it as you may. It kind of resets the story beat. Kind of continues from the first game with who the major enemy in the first game is. You're kind of still fighting this enemy in the second game. It literally just takes right off. You can pull some of your characters from your original gameplay. So depending on who you save, one person will definitely come through. They will make a reference to the other 2. They're not in this game. You'll get those other 2 people back in the third game when it all accumulates. I mentioned this in a text to you. Something happens. You meet a man called Elusive Man who works for a corporation called Cerberus, who is trying to find these enemies from the first game. He basically rebuilds Shepard, gives him his dossier, very like a heist. I always tell you he's like a heist. Reminds me of a heist film. He gives them a dossier. He said, "Look at the dossier. Build your team. I go and build your team. We need them for the fight." And then you go through these story beats where you're recruiting these people and these situations in different planets. And then each person on this different planet has a caveat. So once you get them on your team and they don't tell Shepard, it's like, yeah, the Lucid Man promised me that you would do this for me to join my team. So it adds an extra side mission. When you do those side missions, it increases your loyalty to that person. So there is a bit, and I played this game before, and the final level, you have to keep everybody alive, which is hard as hell. Anybody who dies in this final level is permadeath. They're gone, and you can't bring them over to the third game. So you have to be careful. It helps to do the loyalty missions because it gives you a better chance that they'll survive.
It's a lot more weight behind that one.
So, yeah. So outside of that, don't know how much more I want to go into the second game. Yeah, the Mako's gone.
It's a good overview. I don't feel like I've had anything ruined for me. I'm very pleased.
So outside of that, story base, I'll leave it at that. There is more linear. So on the first game where you kind of explore and make the story your own, there's a main story in the first game that you kind of can follow, and then you can do these side stories at what you want. That's not so much in this game. This one is more like, okay, you're dropped on this major story beat, and it has a direction it wants you to follow. And there's some side stuff you can do, but it's only as they push you forward in this way that's trying to force you to do the story. So, you don't have all these stuff where you meet a random person in this random location who might need help with something, like the first game, that leads into something bigger. So most of your side quests tends to deal with more of the major characters. So that's on there. In my opinion, the first game had a better... I do enjoy the main story in the first game a lot. It was really good. I enjoy the character development way better in the second game.
Damn,
it's so much better. The character.
I think it's great in this one. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
The second one is a lot better because you get these people who are all unique. They all have quirks and they're crazy. And I still remember them to this day. And I played this game in 2013. I go, oh yeah, I remember this. I remember this guy. I remember his quirks. I remember what he did and everything.
That's a sign of a good character.
So, and then you get the reasons why. Yeah. You get the reasons why they do it and everything, and it's like you want to save these people. So I mean, the character development in this game is way better, and also you'll enjoy the Lucid Man, who is voiced by Martin Sheen. So
look at that.
Yeah, I'll leave it at that, and hopefully you'll maybe one day get to Mass Effect 2. I'm not gonna hold my breath because I may die.
Oh dear God, thank you for your vote of confidence there. Hey, we're at an hour and 44 minutes, so.
Hey, I finished with 4 minutes to spare.
4 minutes to spare.
Give everybody 4 minutes back of their day.
Yeah, you can have it back. We've taken enough of your time. Anything else? Y'all good?
Yeah.
That's it. Oh, and one last note. It won't be 4 minutes. That Famcom Detective on the Switch.
Yep.
I haven't played much, but it's very good. It's a kinetic visual novel. So there's bits where the main character is running away from the cops, and you see full motion. And it is done well for visual novel. It's so done so well. It's nice and smooth. The one note I added on there is I played the first game on there, and it's like, do you want to import your same save from the other game? So it turns to come out the second game is actually a prequel. So I'm like, fuck. So I had to quit the first game to go back to the prequel because they wanted me to import my character data. And I was like, I didn't play the prequel. I didn't know this is how it's supposed to be played. So the prequel, which is the second game, and the first game is the first game, which is weird.
Makes sense.
That is kind of an odd choice.
But I didn't think it mattered, but apparently when they asked me to import my data from the other game,
just
I was
Temple of Doom. Temple of Doom's a prequel, right?
Sure. I missed short
Everyone
round.
does.
Yeah. Cover your heart.
Indeed.
Yeah, that one and the raft. We're not. What was it? We're not sinking. We're crashing when they're on the raft.
It's actually it's aged better than I thought it did. It's not as bad.
Yeah,
it's
pretty good.
When you watch Crystal Skull,
it is better. Yeah.
Oh,
it put everything in perspective. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us this week, and we'll catch you next week. Bye.
See you.
Adios.